Welcome to Before Floor, the pregame edition of Five on the Floor, brought to you by the Five Reasons Sports Network. I'm your host, Jonathan, aka Three Piece Combo. I'm joined by Mr. Gadiel Cartagena. As always, make sure you guys, if you're new to the channel, make sure you guys like the video. If you think Miami is going to beat the New York Knicks, who we are playing today, and if you're not already, make sure you guys subscribe as well. Make sure you guys, you'll get all the South Florida sports content here on the Five Reasons Sports Network. Now, if you're young with a family, you want to make sure all your assets are protected. Want to make sure you check out our primary sponsor here at markbrownpa.com. That's marcbrownpa.com, or give them a call 954-866-8513. Like I said, if you want to make sure your assets go to the right people, if something does happen to you, he'll take care of you. He'll give you a free consultation, and he's based out of North Lauderdale and services the entire area. And he's a Heat fan, to make sure you support him as well, because don't want to give your business to a Lakers or a Knicks fan, right? So like I said, go to markbrownpa.com or give him a call 954-866-8513. Now, as you guys know, every single day or every single pregame show, we give you our prize picks. We give you a little bit of rapid fire, give you a couple of options to go play your best daily fantasy, right? You're not drafting players that you have to worry about getting hurt. You're just picking players today, if their points are going to go over, if their rebounds are going to go over, if it's going to go under. And we want to make sure you maximize your money. So the way you're going to maximize your money is go to prizepicks.com, use that promo code 5, like it's spelled out on the screen, FIVE, and that way we'll double your deposit up to $100. Mr. Gadiel Cartagena, we are taking on the New York Knicks, one of the more, inconsistent teams, about 5 or 6 games behind of us in the Eastern Conference. But they have they have a solid team all around, right? They're not a team that is necessarily tanking, right? They're one of those kind of middle tier teams stuck where you never want to be stuck. So let's take a look at New York Knicks right now. And I want to kind of talk about what we're going to see from Bam Adebayo tonight. Obviously, Bam's leading the league in paint points, and the New York Knicks are second defensively in guarding the paint. So what do you expect that we see out of Bam Adebayo given Knicks defense?
A whole lot of jumpers. I think Mitchell Robinson is going to try to force him into jump shots. Isaiah Hartenstein, Julius Randle, for all of his flaws on the defensive end of the floor sometimes in terms of effort, he's a really strong defender, and he's fluid enough to keep up with a lot of the bigger guys in the league. So I think if Bam's going to have a really good game, it's going to come at least by shooting a lot of jump shots to start, and hopefully he can parlay that kind of into okay, I have you on your toes. I'm going to drive a little bit and draw a foul at the rim and kind of go from there. But I think you're going to see a lot of jump shooting tonight. And I'd like to see Bam get other players involved too. I think this could be a big assist game for him, which I feel like we haven't seen as much recently.
Yeah, definitely. I do think the opportunity is there. Like you said, when he draws the players out from the paint, makes it a little bit easier to score. One thing I'm looking for from the Knicks that I'm just a little bit worried about is they're one of the better rebounding teams, right? They're actually 4th when it comes to total rebounds a game, and just overall number 3 in offensive rebounds, number 3 in offensive rebounding percentage. So they're a good offensive rebounding team. And with that many tall players, obviously we know that size is lacking in Miami. So one thing that I think Miami is going to have to do is make sure that we box out and secure that rebound, right? We're an undersized team. Obviously, we lost Orlando Robinson. Correct me if I'm wrong. And Dwayne Dedman, I think, is going to be back tonight, which I'm not sure if it's a negative or a positive, but we're going to have an extra body on that in that 5 rotation for now. So it seems like between Bam Adebayo, Dwayne Dedman, and Caleb Martin, that's your power rotation right there, which makes it a little kind of shaky, when you look past Bam Adebayo, obviously. But this team is just going to have to make a collective effort to secure that rebound. Now, let's get into some individual players for the Knicks. Emmanuel Quigley has been actually over the last 2 weeks averaging almost 15 points a game and 4 assists as well. And, he's one of the players that are kind of, didn't or had maybe more expectations last year, but with the signing of Jalen Brunson has taken a little bit of a back seat. Which, player from the Knicks, obviously Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, which player for the Knicks are you most worried about tonight?
I don't want to say worried, but I think what Quentin Grimes can do, I think he's kind of like a better version of Max Strus on both ends of the floor, if I'm being honest with you. So I think what Quentin Grimes can do as a complementary player can be tough because the Knicks are going to collapse the Heat's defense. I think Bam does a better job against Randle than almost anybody in the entire NBA. Although Randle's having a good year, I feel very confident in that matchup. Jalen Brunson, on the other hand, who stays in front of him? I don't know. I don't have faith in Kyle Lowry to do it. I don't have faith in Tyler Hero to do it. Victor Oladipo's out, and Gabe Vincent, I mean, he's only going to get so much minutes and play so much of a role. And even I don't know if he can stay in front of Jalen Brunson, if I'm being honest with you. I feel like Depot would have been their best bet to kind of slow him down a little bit. So assuming that Brunson gets his and he's kind of collapsing the paint or collapsing the defense in the paint, I really could see Quentin Grimes having a pretty good game. And obviously you kind of worry about RJ Barrett. He has had some good moments. He's had some bad moments. Not the most efficient guy. And I feel like he kind of gets to his spots against the Heat. I don't know. I feel like maybe he goes a little bit harder when he's playing against Jimmy because maybe Jimmy was one of his role models or something. But we'll see. I think Quentin Grimes is the guy that I would look out for tonight, though.
Fair point. Let's go ahead and get into our prize picks since it's just the two of us right now. Let's go ahead and get into our prize picks, and I'll share the screen so that way everybody who's watching can see as well. So I'll give you first dibs. I'll let you pick the player you want to choose a prop for. Bam Adebayo, Caleb Martin, or Jimmy Butler. Who do you want to pick a prop for?
Jimmy Butler. Give me Jimmy.
All right, let's go with Jimmy. All right, so let's see. So, there was a statistic Mateo put out with mid-range jumpers, I think with Jimmy Butler being one of the best mid-range jumpers or mid-range shooters in the league. And with the paint defense being so good for the Knicks, they have Jimmy Butler at 21.5 points. Do you think he goes over on that, or do you think he stays under on that?
I think that one's going to be really close. I'll go over. I want to say I feel like we have not exactly a triple-double, but I think we're going to get like a stat stuffer type game from Jimmy. I think he'll probably get like 23, like 7 and 7 or something like that. And I think that'll be something that we'll be happy with. So I'm rocking with
23, 7, and 7 puts us above on the points, rebound, assists on 32.5. Are you liking that prop better?
I'm taking the over on that.
Yeah.
I like that prop better.
Okay, so you heard it here. Make sure you guys use that promo code 5FIVE and go over on Jimmy Butler, points, rebounds, assists. We're going to go more. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mess around with Bam Adebayo. See which props he has. Our Knicks when it comes to the fouls. Let me look up that statistic.
I can honestly tell you I don't know, but I feel like off the top of my head, they would foul a decent amount.
Right? So they
I feel
have
like that's one of the ways they could keep teams out of the paint.
So looking at the statistics for them, they're 17th on personal fouls a game. I think Bam, I know that there are a lot of those players, like more so Mitchell Robinson is kind of just like a block hunter, right? Where he'll do the Hassan Whiteside and kind of dip out to try to do that. So I think you get 1 or 2 pump fakes off Bam Adebayo that he's going to be able to get to the line. So I think free throws made, I'm going to go more than 4 for Bam Adebayo. Let's get one more pick. Let's get one more pick in. Who do you want? Do you want Gabe Vincent, Caleb Martin, Kyle Lowry, or Tyler Hero?
Tyler Hero. Give me Tyler Hero.
Tyler Hero.
So 20.5 points. That's a lot. What's his 3-pointers made at?
They don't have one. If they had one, I would have taken the over on that easy money.
Yeah, that would be one of the bets that I actually would like for today.
6 rebounds, 4.5 assists.
Actually, I'll go on the over for his points and his rebounds. The 26.5.
Okay, yeah.
I like that number. They're going to have to do some group rebounding today, and I feel like Tyler always gets his numbers in those scenarios. So whether he's the one boxing out or not, I think he's ultimately going to get his hands on the ball a little bit. And obviously, I mean, he's liable to score more than 27 in any game that he plays. And the Knicks are no different. So whatever he's giving up to Jalen Brunson, he could also get it on the other end. That's
fair. So like I said, we have right here 3 picks for you. Jimmy Butler over on the points, rebounds, assists, 32.5, sorry. More than 4 rebounds made for Bam and more than 26.5 rebounds and points for Tyler Hero. Like I said, use that prize pick 5. If you play $10, you'll win 22.5. If you play $5, you'll win 11.5. So gamble smart. Obviously make sure you guys use your discretion with all that. But we're going to make sure you maximize your money. So use that promo code 5. Get a free extra $100. Yeah, let's get into predictions, bro. I'm going to keep mine short real quick, right? I do think Miami gets the win tonight. I think Knicks are just one of those teams that Miami consistently beats. They don't have necessarily a great coach. They don't have too many dangerous players. Like, Jalen Brunson is a good player, obviously. And, him, Julius Randle, and RJ Barrett are all averaging over 20 on the season. So they all have scoring potential. but I don't think it comes in the most efficient manner. I think Miami gets it done. I think defensively we hold it down, and I think we overcome that Peyton defense of the Knicks. How you feeling about tonight?
So I guess I'm looking at their box score from the other night against the Lakers, and I'm not sure if Mitchell Robinson's going to play because he did not play the other night. I forgot they had Jericho Sims starting, so I think that could actually be something that helps the Heat a lot. But I'm with you. I think the Heat end up getting the win. This game is in New York, so I feel like it's going to be a pretty fun crowd. I feel like we always get a good environment for Heat and Knicks, whether it's in the Garden or in Miami, like a strong contingent from both sides. So I'll rock with the Heat. I think Brunson is definitely going to do some damage. I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up having like another 25 plus 30-point game. But I think the Heat's like top three all show up in a pretty decent way today. And that should be enough against his team. Like, I don't think you're going to need a star performance from anyone off the bench, really. You really just need energy, defense from the guys that are surrounding these three. And I think the trio is going to end up scoring like 75, maybe 80 points in this game. I think one of them is liable to have a really big scoring game today.
That's interesting. I'm looking forward to see that. Hopefully, with Miami getting it out. Like I said, always, guys. If you guys think Miami is going to win, make sure you guys like the video. If you agree with Gad's beautiful prediction, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe. Go to markbrownpa.com, marcbrownpa.com. Go to Prize Picks, use that promo code 5, and make sure you guys double your deposit up to $100. Now, Alejandro will take you away with some player interviews. Appreciate you guys joining us as always, and we'll see you on the next game.
You say you get used to it. I know you say it's good learning experiences and all that, but is there any point where this deja vu just sort of gets to you that it keeps happening over and over again, or the fact is you're finding ways where it really counters that?
Look, some nights are different, but we're facing a team that really defends well. They're a possession-oriented team, very similar to us, so you're not thinking that this is going to be a blowout type game. This is going to be a game you're going to have to compete for the full 48, if not longer, and you're going to have to do some things well. So I think, our group is smart enough to understand that and the challenge, and we're just into the grind. I mean, there were a lot of different skirmishes going back and forth the entire game. When it gets to the last 3 or 4 minutes and it's a possession game, because of the experiences, at least we understand what our packages are, what we want to do from an execution standpoint. Guys feel at least comfortable enough to be able to execute under that kind of context and pressure. And then, that helps, but that doesn't guarantee anything, But I enjoyed the way we competed and also, defended going down the stretch. There were a lot of key stops. Bam had a deflection. Jimmy had just a ridiculous steal that I have to go look on the film. I think he just totally baited that steal. It was incredibly savvy on his part, just from a next play speed standpoint. But there were a lot of key defensive stops going down the stretch in the fourth quarter. So you don't see a lot of games like this. There is a beauty in this, for the aficionados when it's highly competitive and it's not necessarily 140 to 137. There's a beauty in the competition.
What Caleb did tonight against, obviously, a big front court. Just thoughts on what he gave you on both ends.
Yeah, he was so active defensively. Look, we all know, how explosive Donovan Mitchell is, and Garland just continues to grow. He has so much confidence and skill level. But Mitchell is he's a problem. He's so shifty, he's strong. Caleb was really disciplined in our man and zone, and even that doesn't guarantee anything. Like, he can still go for 40 or 50 even when you're doing all the right things. But his activity level just kind of inspires the group, and that's the most important thing. When Caleb is making plays defensively, it ignites other guys. I think we saw that tonight, and then the ball tends to find energy. It tends to find karma. It tends to find defensive efforts, and he made some big shots tonight.
Usually Jimmy sort of paced himself to a degree, but it was clear he was needed early, and he sort of kept you afloat early. Is that just Jimmy getting a read on the game? Then when you got
For
behind
sure.
a little bit early, he sort of took his moment.
For sure, we were disjointed at the beginning of the game, but you have to credit Cleveland. They do that to a lot of teams. They're a very good defensive team, so you have to do things with a motor. You have to do it with precision. You have to make quick decisions, otherwise they can bottle you up pretty quickly. And we were bottled up. We were a little bit random, just in terms of not getting the ball where we needed to do with enough kind of movement. I think Jimmy's sensed that, and he just went to work at least just to keep it within striking distance. And then when we brought in the second unit in the second quarter, I thought they played really well.
And then Bam has been making the floater a lot this season, and you would think against Jared Allen he would do that, but he was playing with force, including that one dunk in the second quarter. He went right at him. Was that sort of a statement by Bam that he can do that also against size and the aggression he played with?
Yeah, you can control or impose the will on the game, defensively, or you can do it with your assertiveness and aggressiveness offensively, and that's what Jimmy does so well. Particularly when you're on the road, you can quiet, buildings if you're attacking, getting to the rim, getting to the free throw line, and Bam just continues to get better, with that kind of assertiveness, and tonight we needed that, on the road is to have some emphatic plays at the rim.
I know it's hard in transition because there's a risk, and I always ask you these in 3-point games. The other team doesn't have a timeout. Was there any message to possibly foul? Do you have a team precept?
No.
Especially with the look they got at the end.
No, and we talk about it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a philosophical thing that would be a much deeper conversation.
Right.
But I get it. I see it, and I'll just leave it at that.
It's a more general question and kind of relating to tonight, but the standings all around the league, how everything's bunched up. You got teams, all that are in it, like except for 5 right now. Do you have kind of maybe a reason that it might be like that this year as opposed to previous years? Just it seems like the competition's just been up on a whole nother level as far as teams go.
I think it's been happening now for 3 years, 2 years since the play-in was put in. I think that's the biggest driver in this. You just have far less teams tanking. Am I allowed to say that word? Come on, this happens in this league. But now you have a bunch of teams that probably weren't necessarily thinking that they would have in either conference that they would have a chance of being in the play-in, and they're at this point. You might as well go for it. The experience you get, that's just driving the competition level league-wide, and this is the way it should be. We had a devastating loss the other night at Charlotte, and then, to keep it in perspective, we wake up the next morning and, even with only being +5, we had the 9th best record in the league. That's a head scratcher to me. Usually you had the top teams, maybe a handful of middle teams, and then the rest were tanking. That's not the case anymore, and I think it's good.
I think first 10 fourth quarter possessions didn't end in.
It is clean, as was the finish defensively in this game, which is, I know, what you like the most.
Yeah, I love my fit. My little puffer get it done, don't it? But back to basketball, I think whenever we guard at a high level, we're really good. We still have lapses, but I'm glad that those lapses did not cost us a game tonight, and we got stops down the stretch whenever we needed to.
How enjoyable is a long overdue? We trust in Caleb, and Caleb we trust. Caleb for president moment that you like to have?
Good for Caleb. He can score in a multitude of ways, running the floor, offensive rebound, cutting, obviously shooting the tray ball. When he's like that, he makes us a lot better. I'm curious, though, if his brother was talking instead of him, you think you can know the difference?
No.
Exactly. See?
You're always poised down the stretch, but how much do you think playing so many close games over the last year has rubbed off on teammates in terms of you all being poised in general down the stretch of close games?
I think either way it goes, the more experience you have in any situation, the more comfortable and the better you're going to be. Yes, we have been in a lot of close games for many years now, so anybody could take any shot. Anybody is there to get any stop. we know what it takes to win games, whether it's close, whether it's in the second or third quarter. We got to do that. But close games, maybe we're starting to get the hang of this thing.
Jim, usually you take the temperature of a game as it goes along, but even Coach noticed when it started to get away a little bit, you really asserted yourself early. Did you just decide when it got to 7 or 8, no, this is not going to happen tonight? We saw a lot more from you in the first quarters than we have in other games.
Yes. We talked about it, setting the tone myself on both sides of the floor, Bam as well. And I think whenever I'm attacking, getting into the paint, it makes everybody else's job easier. I get to hit the open shooters, get a layup here and there, and not let the game get away from us.
Unrelated to the extra game tonight, even though it kind of was because you guys are close in the standings, just in general, the way that the league is competing this year and the way that everybody's honestly like in it still. What do you think the reason behind that is, maybe compared to previous seasons?
Honestly, I think it's because a lot of guys have missed games. You know, when you can't get a rhythm of who's going to be in the lineup, who's going to be out, different roles change from night to night. We're a prime example of that. I think that's why, teams are so up and down. But when guys get healthy and they get their guys back, I think it's going to start to look a lot different.
Because of what you guys have on this trip and dropping the first, did you guys add a little bit more importance to correcting what ailed you in Charlotte to get this win here, knowing that there's Cleveland in front of you and New York right behind you?
Definitely let the one in Charlotte slip away. But these games are important to us. It's tight in the East right now. You got people losing, people on winning streaks. So, for us, it's trying to be consistent.
Coach and you yesterday, coming out of your session, talked a lot about defense and the stuff that you needed to look at. And at the end of this one, yes, sir.
Doing media.
With that being said, how important is it that you guys were able to call on whatever adjustment you had to make yesterday to be able to close this out with defense?
That's the culture way. It seems like a lot of our games have ended with us getting stops on the defensive end. We pride ourselves in that, and that's what's been winning us games. We've been in a slump, but we've been figuring it out on the defensive side.
With the way that you and Cleveland play defense, this was not necessarily looked at as an offensive-based night, but when you have balanced scoring in your offense like you guys had tonight, how good does that make your offense?
Man, because everybody's in rhythm, everybody's, activated, and everybody's moving. A lot today I seen a lot of dudes sacrifice, for somebody else to cut, a sacrifice cut to get somebody else open. And that's what it is, for us. Everybody always scouts us and, they look at the bases. But these are the little details like, sacrifice and cut, running your route hard. And those are the sacrifices that we have to make to get our team to the next level.
Bam, I know you've been thriving on the floater and everything, and everyone talks about Cleveland size, but it almost looked like your thought process today was take it right at him, including that second quarter dunk against Jared Allen. Was it a case where you said, hey, forget about the size, I still have force also to go at them?
Nah, that's just me, just trying to create contact. Coaches really emphasizing me getting to the line. And I felt like I did that tonight. And, it took a couple of those bumps, and I dunked one.
Bam, you're a game and a half out of fifth now, behind Cleveland, 3 games out of fourth. What's the goal for you, besides winning as many games as you can? Is it a top 4 seed? What would make you pleased?
Pleased?
In terms of seeding, if there is
Man, get back where we was last year.
That's first.
Exactly. But, we're not looking too far ahead of that, game by game. Just for my mental sake, I take it game by game. I don't really focus on anything after that. Next game is New York. Focus on New York.
Where you sat behind Cleveland in the standings, you're staring right at them. These games, and you're going to have some in March, and obviously in the first week of April, where you're playing the teams that you're adjacent to, mean almost, it's still one game, but it almost feels like double in the standings. So how important is a win like this?
It's very important for us, coming off a loss in Charlotte and then coming into arena like this where they don't lose much at home. I wouldn't say backs against the walls, but in a sense, it's kind of like that because coming off a loss, and this is a big game for us. It was a great win. I thought we competed on both ends, and just an overall great win for us.
On the season on the whole, you guys have a fantastic fourth quarter defense. What did you all call on in this fourth quarter that you needed?
I think we switched up, the coverages, from zone to man, switching to blitzing, just different things, throwing different looks at, their guards and making them make plays on the fly, making the right reads, which is never easy, especially when Bam is out there. So just making them make reads and speeding them up a little bit, and thought we rebounded the ball well at the end, and no, we don't feel pressure. I mean, it's a big moment in a big game, but it's what we work for, and at the end of the day, that's what you want. You want a competitive game against competitive players, and we got that tonight, and it's been the case for most games. But I think going into the playoffs, that's what we need. We need to be in them situations so we're prepared for anything at the end of the year.
Situation, just kind of walk us through the thumb and his dynamics ahead.
Yeah, we think it was on one of those plays where he was going up, and Mobley came down on his hand. We think it was that play. We'll get him back to Miami and see how long this will be. The initial prognosis is a little bit more encouraging, but we'll just have to see when he fully gets evaluated.
As for the task at hand, for those of us that like sentiment, being at the 35th anniversary of the team and remembering all the history, obviously Knicks Heat history is at the centerpiece of all that. I don't think we could ever get back to that level of intensity, but it can add to the flavor of the first of these four late season clashes.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. It's a little bit unique that we're this far along in the season. We haven't played them yet, and we'll play them 4 times in the next 5 weeks. But this is good for the league. The history, it's not specifically relevant now, but I think you inherit all of the things that we've experienced as an organization. Ultimately, it's just good competition. We're both right there, basically in a similar spot in a very competitive Eastern Conference. They've had 2 tough losses, but right before that, they had 2 great wins. You respect how they play, how physical they are, and how much emotion and passion they play in this environment, this building.
Orlando, what he's done for you to this point, has it been a surprise, and how has his steadiness sort of helped stabilize that backup center situation?
I was just, all of us wanted to be open-minded, to his improvement, particularly since Summer League. He just continued to impress us with his stability. And that each month he's been an improved player, where he can stabilize a unit that needed some consistency. Now he does have an attention to detail. He's coachable. He listens, to the veteran players, so he's earned their trust. It's been encouraging to see that develop over time.
Were you aware of his clock being at 9 games left, or as a coach were you told just go for it?
I told him I'm aware of it. I told him he's aware of it. I told him the team, but at this point now, is aware of it, and we'll just continue to do it until we can't. Now, we don't have to worry about that for the short term.
Eric, is Dwayne in your thoughts tonight? How has he kept himself in shape the last 2 weeks?
Oh, he's kept himself in shape, and one of the things from this is he's been able to really do some good rehab on his foot. He's probably feeling the best he's felt all year. UD also feels good. He'll be on deck as well tonight.
And with the Vic, any sense if that's a minor thing, just going day to day on?
Yeah, he was able to finish the game, but it's a sprained ankle. Once you fly and then you wake up the next day, sometimes it can swell up on you, and we'll manage him.
organization, has this history with the Knicks. It super precedes your time, but Spo says you inherit some of that. So if you add that on top of the Knicks being in your back pocket with just a 2-game separation, tonight's game is intense with the other ones coming, I'm sure.
Definitely, for sure. And like I said, we take it one game at a time. So tonight it's the Knicks. We got to take care of the Knicks.
What is it about them and this place that makes these games so intense?
I mean, obviously you got the history with it, and then you got the great Knicks fans that they have. But we got some heat chance in here. But it's one of those things, man. It's just good competition, and it's gonna be a good game. I don't do standing watching. I'm one game after another. I can't control anything anybody else is doing in the standings. I just know game by game, step by step. I mean, more so it's the battle and winning the matchups. I mean, like we tied with Boston. We swept. Who we sweep? Two at home. So it's more so winning those individual battles. I think this is the first time we played the Knicks. Yes. So biggest thing is winning the biggest thing is the matchups, because that's what really determines the seeding at the end of the year.
Sure, you were alive when Knicks Heat was such a thing, but Heat Nation fully knows all about it. So for you, it's got to just be the connective standing proximity, having the Knicks in your back pocket by 2 games and make this game, and I guess the other 3 coming up in the next 5 weeks, super intense for you all.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, every time we come into this environment, the Garden in New York, it's a playoff environment. The rivalry, like you said back in the day, and then just now both teams, even in the past couple of years, we've both been in the middle of the playoffs in the hunt. So I think it's another game where we're both right there in the standings, and we both could use a win, and we want to gain ground and get some comfortability in the standings, and they want to gain some ground on us.
And did you know it was bad initially, or is it one of those things where my thumb hurts, let me keep playing?
It was definitely one of those. I mean, I thought I just irritated a little bit. Like worst case scenario, I jammed it. But I was gonna keep playing. I just didn't get in. We closed out the game. They didn't need me to. So when I woke up that last morning, it was purple. So I went to go check it out, and they said I broke it.
So what's the message to you medically about how to deal with it?
Well, it's not. I mean, it's not a bad break. So if I could play on it the right way without furthering damaging it, then I will. I'm willing to. They said it's something I could do. It's It's probably a couple of days, chill, see the specialist, and then go from there.
Would you then be able to potentially play with it with a splint, do you think?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
The splint and 2 ibuprofens.
And 2 ibuprofens. Do you think we're looking at least a couple of weeks before the point at which the pain tolerance and other factors would allow you to actually play in games?
Hope it's not that long, but I've played on injuries before and I've healed through them, so this is nothing different. The sooner I can get out there safely without furthering damaging this little thumb of mine, I will be out there, to contribute and help the team win.